WWE Superstar Spotlight Series, episode number 12. This time we're talking about Goldberg. Now, Goldberg starts off in WCW. Goes 173-0. Mostly took on jobbers his first, probably his first couple of dozen or first maybe 50 or 60 matches. And coined the phrase, "Who's next?" after he beat everybody in about a minute and a half, maybe, or less. And then he takes on, and then he becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. And takes on a lot of different WCW wrestlers. I think Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan's one of them. All kinds of other WCW wrestlers. The list goes on and on. I will be here all day naming all these guys that he took on. But then he takes on Kevin Nash. And Kevin Nash and Scott Hall is there, and they got this taser. 173-0, people. Taking people and just completely wiping them up a minute and a half or 4 or 5 minutes sometimes, depending on who he was taking on when he was World Heavyweight Champion. He takes on Kevin Nash. And Kevin Nash and Scott Hall is there with Eddie's side. They have a taser. They start tasing Goldberg. They taser him. They taser him. And then, the next thing you know, Kevin Nash becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, why they did this, I have no idea. Was it because maybe Kevin Nash was afraid of tearing his quad again? I don't know. But Kevin Nash, however, wins this match and wins the World Heavyweight Championship, thus breaking Goldberg's streak. Why did they do it that way? I don't know. I think that was one of the most stupidest booking in WCW in WCW's history in their existence. Don't know who was thinking that. So when WCW goes under, Goldberg goes to WWE. And he isn't booked correctly. He's booked absolutely horrible. Takes on Brock Lesnar in WrestleMania 20. Somebody say arguably one of the worst matches in WWE's WrestleMania history. Both him and Brock Lesnar are fighting it out with one another, and Stone Cold stunners both of them. And I think Goldberg got the win. Maybe it was Brock. I'm not quite sure. You know, it's somebody. You'll know who it is when I say that. You know, somebody got the win after Stone Cold stunned both of them, and then threw somebody on top and then pinned them or whatever it was. Like I said, arguably people say that's one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history. Will go down as one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history. And then Goldberg disappears for a long while. Prior to after that or whatever it is, and he goes about his merry way and does his thing. Does a few movies, few movie appearances and stuff like that, and then he becomes a WWE Hall of Famer. And I think, okay, that's the last we'll see of Goldberg. But no. WWE keeps pushing him down our throat. Took on Brock Lesnar. Brock seemed to feel sorry for Goldberg and let him beat him in like a minute and a half or whatever it was. Or less than a minute or whatever it was for the Universal Championship. And ended up taking him out. Like a minute or so, whatever it was. And Brock felt sorry for him. I wouldn't have felt sorry for Goldberg. Goldberg needs to wrestle a match more than just a minute and a half. Because that's all Goldberg's known for. And Goldberg, to me, his character is stale. He needs to just retire and stay home where he was before he became a Hall of Famer, before he took on Brock Lesnar again and won that Universal Championship. Or was it he beat Kevin Owens for Universal Championship and then took on it? I don't know how that works. I really don't care because obviously Goldberg to me is just completely stale. You can tell me right now, well, wait a minute. Goldberg's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. That's all fine and good. I'm proud of you for that. But Goldberg to me, his best days were in WCW, left in the past. We don't need to see him in the present. His match, a Super Showdown with The Undertaker, was one of the absolute worst matches as well. Got rammed into the steel post or whatever it was and blacked out or whatever, I guess, and botched the tombstone, botched the choke slam, made the Undertaker look bad or whatever, and people say, "Oh, that match was horrible." Goldberg to me just needs to just retire. I mean, here we are. This will, of course, come out to you on the 9th of August of 2019. That's what today is. But here in a couple days for SummerSlam 2019, we're going to see him take on Dolph Ziggler. And I got a lot of opinionation about Dolph Ziggler. And I'll be talking about Dolph in the next episode of the Superstar Spotlight series. And by the time that episode comes out, the match at SummerSlam will be done and over with. But with that being said, Goldberg to me just needs to hang up the boots. I do not like Goldberg in this day and age. I think he should have just stuck with what he had in the past, 173-0, and left it in the past. Left his run of WWE the first time in the past, and I don't think he should have came back. I really don't. I think he should have came back as a Hall of Famer. Allow him to be in WWE video games and stuff like that, because he has a right to be as a WWE Hall of Famer. But the right for him to come back in the ring and keep pushing him down our throat, who's next? I'm going to kick your ass, or whatever it is. To me, Goldberg just needs to give it up. I'm sorry, but I really am not looking forward to this match with Dolph Ziggler and Goldberg. I really am not looking forward to it at SummerSlam. And I'm just going to I would actually use this as my bathroom break, but I'm going to love watching Dolph Ziggler shine in this match. That's all I got to say about that. We'll talk about that later on in the next couple weeks as we get into that episode 13. But yeah, as I said, Goldberg, he's just one of those guys that was flash in the pan back in the day, and today Goldberg does nothing for me. He does nothing for me. Probably arguably one of the best entrances in professional wrestling and sports entertainment, where he knocks on the door and he comes through the door with the guards and they take him in. He comes down. Probably one of the best entrances. I love using Goldberg's entrances for a few of my creative superstars or creative wrestlers in WWE games. But other than that, Goldberg does nothing for me, and hasn't since he lost that championship to Kevin Nash in WCW back in the day. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode Spotlight Series number 12. We're talking Goldberg. Maybe you have a better opinion on Goldberg. Maybe Goldberg's one of your favorite wrestlers of all times, and that's all fine and good. But Goldberg today does nothing for me. This has been Wolfman Lewis, your Godfather Wolf. I am out.